Okay.
So my name is Tena. I'm a white, red-haired woman in my middle 50s. I came from Olot, that is a little village in the north of Catalonia, under the Pyrenees, 1.5 hours north of Barcelona. And I'm the artistic director of Seismograph Festival. Seismograph Festival, we said that it's the festival who detects the movement of the body and of the planet. So we are focused on movement and also in issues like globalization, sustainability, ecology, and so on. And we have the festival, but we also run a venue, the main theater in the village, and we organize both the season and the festival.
My name is Jasmine. I am in my mid-40s, but I don't look mid-40s. I am a little bit short, long hair, brown eyes, brown hair, big arrows. So I am the artistic director of Dublin Dance Festival, which I started directing the festival in 2021, and this year was my first edition of the festival. Dublin Dance Festival has already 20 years of existence, and we have a program that is an international program that's presented in venues of different size, outdoors. We work with all type of audiences, so children, adults, general audience. More specific, we also have an intensive program that is master classes. We co-produce pieces and we commission works. So more or less the festival is 12 to 15 days in the months of May.
Okay, so my name is Marketa Peru, and I am tall, white, in early 50s woman, mother of 2 kids, and wife of my French husband. I am Czech. And I am artistic co-director of Tanec Praha organization and artistic director of Ponec venue. And I am based in Prague, Czech Republic, in the center of Europe. And our organization Tanec Praha means Dance Prague, because it was initially in Prague. And the organization runs the venue, which is like which has all round year program, and we co-produce the things, and mainly we are the platform or partner for local artists, contemporary dance artists. And we have also a big international festival which runs every June for all months in Prague, but also in other villages and cities of the Czech Republic. So like that we have privilege to show like all kind diverse formats of contemporary dance pieces for all kind of public. And then we have also Czech dance platform. So we present Czech artists or in Czech Republic based artists to the programmers and presenters.
How would you characterize your own personal interest in dance practice? What excites you?
We all have dance previous to work in dance management. So
maybe we can all tell a little bit our own mini story.
Mini story. Let's start with a mini story.
Yeah, well, I personally danced since I'm 5. I did a career as a professional dancer, and came to Europe from Argentina, looking to expand my career and my opportunities. So my very interest on dance comes as a way of living. I see life through dance and dance through life. So I think being the director of Dublin Dance Festival is a very exciting way of bringing forward those first years of myself dancing, then myself creating and making work. So today, what excites me about dance definitely is the work that might make ourselves change, feel, think, and how much dance can push boundaries towards what we define that it is a person or a society or a community.
Well, dance, what is dance for me? Dance made and makes to discover myself and the world around me, because somehow I say that I didn't choose dance. I didn't choose dance, but dance chose me, because it was a little bit by mistake. But yeah, then it grabbed me, and then it didn't let me go. So I'm trained actually at the beginning as a classical dancer, but very soon I found out that I don't fit in the way also of thinking, and that contemporary dance made me inspired me much more. Like it fit more to my personality. And then I worked in Czech Republic and then also abroad, and I traveled a lot thanks to dance. I met my husband thanks to dance, and now, like, very easily, said, I try to give to the others, or show to the others the possibilities that dance gave to me.
Mm-hmm. My experience is a little bit like English people said, Jack who all trains and master of none. That's my experience in practicing arts. I start in theater, but then I don't feel comfortable with speaking. I need to express things in other ways, so I came to the dance. I finished at the circus. I feel more comfortable expressing me without words. So this is my approach to the body work. I think it's important. It defines like we are, our body, and how we use our body. So for me, this is important to work around these ideas in my dance practices or in my dance managing projects. What I expect to dance provoke to the others is just emotion, and it's just to bring things here and here a little bit.
Yeah, I think that for me, like, dance is the art which engages the human being, like, in all the complexity. Mm-hmm. Somehow for me, it's why it's also
And it connects also with the memory, because dance is the way to be all together from the ancient and from many years ago. And I imagine, for example, prehistoric people, using their bodies to communicate, to being, to create community, to being together. And this is like it connects, our body connects with all the people that has been before us.
Yeah, there's something ancestral about it. There's something that we say, there is a very interesting phrase they say, is the knowing body. So there is a body that knows, and that body moves through that knowledge. I think dance is almost the art to bring that forward choreographically, because then there is dance and choreography and the art of making dance and the practice of dance. I think there is all of this diversity of the form in itself. I think what's exciting is when we can start seeing how dance powerfully empowers people and people's lives and communities, brings a sense of belonging, cohesion, self-awareness. We see them in children, we see them in audiences, and then we see them through the arts of people, of dancers and dance makers. So, but we are the passionate ones. So maybe we do.
But there are also the knowledge and the skills that you are gaining by being engaged in dance.
I had an experience once I was in a group.
Activists here.
No, but it's true. I had an experience when I was in a group of thinkers for a cultural city, for a cultural bid of a city, of a European city. And I was the only dancer, choreographer. I was doing a master's in festivals. And the position that I brought to the group, it was to observe the city as a space. It's like when we were sitting here before, where we are, how are we with each other, what is up, what is down, you know. It's like, it's almost a relationship of self and space and self and the other. Mm-hmm. I think dancers, we are very intelligent, you have people, and we have skills that I think they could be quite interesting in a much more multi-plural, interdisciplinary way of thinking, because there is a way of interlinking that is very interesting when you start to be connected to the art form.
Can you talk about a performance by a deaf or disabled artist that has had an impact on you?
Yes.
Obviously.
Yes. Yes.
Well, I have to say, I saw 2 days ago, like perfectly, really, like it was fantastically done, set and reset by Kanduko company.
Okay.
And I danced the piece, I know what is it, but it was just made so beautifully that, yeah, so I can say yes, like with the fresh memory. It's first what...
My memory is more fresh than yours, because it's, we have seen this morning Chiara Bersani, and I saw this piece some years ago, and this morning I renew my experience with this piece and this big artist that Chiara is, to show the audience her body, to show the audience her quality of movement, and we have had the privilege to see it in the National Gallery, in the middle of these big pictures of this body, these bodies painted, and I think I remember for time this morning experience. Yeah.
I saw the work, well, I seen a company actually, it's called Danzando con la Diferencia. It's a company that is based in Madeiras, in an island in Portugal. And it's a very interesting project because they work, most of the artists have different type of disabilities, and they work with choreographers that normally would work with companies without this mix or these different abilities or disabilities, and I saw the work of Tania Carvalho with them, and now I just saw the work of Marlene Montero Freitas. And what really impacted me is I know by being a dancer in the practice of what actually is to go to the process of memorizing, remembering, creating, and being in the room with others and in my own understanding of what the body is. And I can't really, it's like I can feel the power of the experience, because the body is also different. So it's almost what it comes from the piece is the piece, but the piece being performed by these bodies, which are me and not me. So it was really powerful, that way of understanding the difference, and that the difference was allowing to me to feel something very specific and special, like we did today with Chiara as well. Okay, so okay, how did we hear about the artists of the company that we saw? Now we know the question. So I didn't know Danzando con la Diferencia until I went to a platform in Portugal that programmed them. So I had no idea before that.
I discovered Chiara in Sant'Arcangelo Festival many years ago. Related to the question, I think, for example, going to festivals or to platforms is a good way to to discover new artists, and well, it's one of our main places to discover new artists.
Yeah, I think it was the same for me. Kanduko, I think for the first time I saw a British dance edition. So it was a showcase of British works. Yeah.
But it's interesting.
And but Chiara, for example, I didn't know.
Okay.
I didn't. I no, but first time when I saw her, it was in Italy, and I didn't know actually. So I discovered her during the performance.
And I discover a lot of artists because we did a commission now to Mark Brew, which is also an artist, a wheelchair user, and it's interesting when you put the emphasis into trying to find artists for a commission or for a different world appear.
Yes.
But it's not the same one. It's not the same circuits. It's almost like you find them through different circuits. And I think there's an interesting question to say, why do we have to look outside of our circuits?
Yeah. But for example, this kind of personal meetings with someone, it's important. I know Kandoko because I have a friend that was dancer on the company, so she told me about, and I mean, it's these formal and informal ways of having the information.
Do you think you bring a different critical eye to the work of deaf and disabled artists? Do you think you bring a different critical eye to the work?
A different from who? A different.
I suppose that my understanding of the questions, like, it's a bit what I was saying regarding how I look, what I look. It's like how I understand what I see, or how I critically see the work. And I was looking at Chiara today, and I was thinking, how will I perceive that same work if it was with a different body? And then I say to myself, who cares? Because we're trying to find too much to fit it in some kind of category. So for me, I don't know what I bring myself, but I know what they bring to me. There's like almost a possibility to undo a lot of way of seeing work. And then there is something about maybe more I see the work of people being made with that perspective, from their life, from their lens, more I understand critically where are they standing against others. Because of course there's good work, bad work, work of interest, or relevance and not.
Yeah, and maybe it has something to see about that we talked previously, the privilege, the privilege to be in our position, leading an artistic project, and it's we have the obligation, we have not only the need but the obligation to have this very wide regarding to the all the artistic projects.
You look at me that I should add
No,
something.
no, if you don't want.
No, because when I look at the question and after what you said, it's just like, yeah, also as an ex-dancer and as a person who lived the life that I lived, yeah, it's the different critical eye, but I don't somehow, yeah. As a professional, you have of course different, but otherwise it's.
What do you think the appetite amongst your audiences is for work of deaf and disabled audiences? Do you think audiences bring different critical processes to the work? That's an interesting question. We were talking about this today, no? Because, I mean, in terms of the appetite, I don't think people know. I think if you ask them, they will say yes by curiosity. I think everybody will say yes, but I think You know, when you go and you taste something for the first time, like a food from a different country, and then you start liking that taste and you want more, like mangoes. When I discovered mangoes, you know, then I wanted more. I think that there is something about what is this word appetite. I think that there is need, but I don't know if there is an appetite.
I think audience have an appetite for these kind of works, but also for the risky or very innovative works, or audience want to be sure that the thing that they will see, they prefer comedies with famous actors. I mean, it's in terms of appetence, I think it's not, it's strange to answer in terms of appetite.
Appetite I have a bit problem with, but because I'm not English native speaker, so I have maybe some other, but for sure I would say yes, of course, yes. But then there is the second question.
What is the
Do you think audiences bring different critical processes to the work? I think yes, most of them, yes.
But it also is a bit like we were saying today, you know, with this critical person that couldn't write about a piece because she didn't think, because she was afraid to offend. Yeah. So I think that there is something interesting that, like, the work of Marlene Montero Freitas is really provocative because she puts the body of different disabled artists into something that we don't want to see. Because also it's like almost like, oh yes, okay, yes, arts and disability, okay, but not sexuality, not too much violence. It's like, you know, like happy work. So, you know, so it's almost like we also go, it's like, oh, is it, you know, when people say to you, isn't it great for them? And I'm like, it's great for everybody. So I think that there is something we still need to grow, and I think audiences have a filter sometimes of when they're seeing the work. I think more exposed, more they will start to see it without the sensation that this is something to be celebrated specifically or especially, but more received as any other artist.
But I think another clue could be to understand the artistic works as artistic works.
Yes.
Totally.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Seven.
So Aisha, how would you rate your overall knowledge of deaf and disabled artists working in the dance community?
Oh, from 1 to 10, 2 or 3.
1 being bad and 10 being really good?
Yeah. No, I mean...
Well, I have to say that when I started that process of commission, today I can say I'm more close to between a 7 and an 8, that kind of place. I don't think that I have an enormous amount of knowledge of everybody out there, but I'm closer because I did that research. And so I really went deep and I started to call people who maybe knows people. It's very interesting how when when there is a need, you start to search. How is it that you are going to deal with this? But if there is not a need or a push or a will, you just don't move. So I think that there is something that sometimes it feels a bit imposed. So my knowledge growed, but also showed to me how far I was on the knowledge of today's landscape of artists, even in my own country, Ireland. So it's very interesting, and sometimes maybe that's the way.
Yeah, in my close context, maybe it's a 7, but my global knowledge it's not farther than the 2, 3 well-known names like Andoko or Chiara or Claire or...
The same. And also there is a little bit different because dance community, it's really large, but do we talk about professional dance community? So then...
If deaf and disabled artists are not part of the dance development and incubator projects, how might you as a promoters be able to ensure you don't also overlook them? Yeah, it's a question, it's a question, no?
Yeah. So
And same that you explained this morning to us, that maybe till an age it's possible to do it, but then only the normative bodies are
yes.
the possibility of being professionals, but not the others. Yeah.
So I think it depends of the role of the organization. Our organization is a festival. So as a festival today, my role is to not overlook in terms of in my term, which is 3 years or 4 years, wherever I am, that there is a representation of that diversity of voices. And so then projects, artworks might need to include works that they are coming from or made by or performed by a mix of able and disabled artists. Now, we particularly are now working between 3 organizations to commission Mark Brew to do, and that make a huge difference in terms of our capacity. And we hope that we are going to lead the voice in the future with this MOVE Commission to continue then the dialogue of the need. Because not only we need to education, like if I was a university, I would say I need to open the doors to more disabled artists to be able to train professionally to become the artists that they could, the makers, the thinkers, the writers. Inside of the ecology, there is a lot of gaps. But then there is the social thing, and then I don't know how it happened in your countries, but even when you look at it, and even when you put the money, and even when you do the effort, you find the social system against you. Because if they take salaries, they lose rights. Social rights.
Yeah, okay.
Because they get social rights because they don't work as much, so then they lose. So there is something there on the social system that sometimes doesn't work with us. So it's interesting when you start to go inside of that tunnel of like, okay, let's open this discussion. Well, where the walls are then.
And being aware about also the content.
So if I go back to the question, I think
Jasmine.
that if they are not part of Dance Development and Incubators project, we have to go and to look after them. It's like
we have to act in a kind of
we should be
little
more,
positive discrimination in this.
Okay, that was fantastic.
So thank you.
Thank you.
It
bye.
will be a
Bye-bye.
pleasure. A pleasure
Yes.
to share this conversation with you.
Bye.
So, bye guys.
Oh.